All right, welcome everybody to Econ 308. Welcome back from the break. I hope everybody had a good break. But now that break is over, and we are now back in school, and things have to be done. And this is a management course, so there's a lot to be done in this course. It's a challenging course, but if you are invested in the course, things should go well. But before I get into all the details and all the important stuff, just a quick sort of peek at what we're going to be talking about. General introduction, just generally talking about myself and you and the class. Then I'll go over the syllabus in fine detail, and that's basically it. We won't cover any material today. We'll start the material on Thursday. For those of you that are trying to get, here's the syllabus. For those of you that are trying to get into the course, either you're on the wait list or you're not, how I do it is I honor the wait list, so make sure you get on the wait list if you're not on the wait list. But beyond the first week, when everything's automated as far as the wait list, if people drop, the wait list lets people in. Beyond the first week, I get to decide who I want to let into the course via permission numbers. I can't do that till the second week. So how it works is as slots open up, I do give out permission numbers, but to people that have been attending class every single day since the first day. So if you're trying to get into the course, you have to be attending class every day. At the end of every class, I'm going to have you sign in. Those people trying to get in. If you're in the class and you're registered, you don't need to sign in. You're fine. Don't worry about it. But if you're trying to get into the class, whether you're on the wait list or not, you need to be signing in. You need to be coming on a daily basis. And as slots open up, I will let people in up until the end of the third week. And up until the end of the third week, you have to keep coming and you have to keep signing in. You have to keep being on this list, or else you're disqualified. I will not let you into the course. But again, the first week, it's all automated. Wait list stuff has nothing to do with me. So beyond the first week, that's when my system comes into play, and it's going to all be based on you demonstrating your commitment to wanting to be in the course. So it's up to you what you want to do. In the end, you may come every single day for 3 weeks, and a slot may not open up for you, and you may not get into the course. That's something you have to accept, a risk that you have to be comfortable with. I can't let everybody in. Obviously, it has to do with fire codes and like seating capacity, etc. So it's out of my hands. I can only let in as many people as there are available slots for the class, and that is it. So that's the information at the end of the class. If you're in this to win this, make sure you sign in, and then just keep coming until ideally a slot opens up for you. All right. So general introduction. So welcome back again. You know, it's always sort of like a transition for us, like after we've been off for a few weeks, like to get back into that hardcore like working mindset. So you know, it's time to sort of start making that transition. If you haven't already made the transition, it's fine. It's the first week. You know, it's going to take a couple of days, but by next week, it's time to really be in and really be committed to doing well, both in this class and all your other classes. So just keep that in mind, that you know, that you have to like be very conscious of like needing to make that switch, and then like doing everything you can to make that switch happen. Just be like, okay, I'm here, it's happening, break's over, work needs to get done. Here's a syllabus for you. Work needs to get done. I'm going to get the work done. So make sure you commit to that sooner rather than later, please. All right, so who am I? My name is Gabriel Exarlian. I have been teaching here for 1.5 years now. This is my 4th quarter here, or semester here. I've just finished my PhD 1.5 years ago in economics up at UCSC, Santa Cruz. Got my bachelor's in film from USC. And then I decided I wanted to become an economist, so then I took a bunch of math courses, probability, statistics, got a master's in economics from USC, and then went to get my PhD up north right after that. So I was in school for like, I'm going to say 9 straight years right before I got here, and they were like the hardest years of my life. So I know what you're going through to an extreme extent. a lot. Like I've been in school quite a bit, so like I really understand what you're going through. But I also understand that that it's commitment that gets you through it, and that it's individual sort of like uh, self-starting kind of mechanisms that allow you to be successful, not dependence on like anything other than yourself. You have to really learn how to like just maximize your full potential at every moment and get things done. When big tasks are when you set yourself out to conquer big tasks. So anyway, so did that. Now I'm here and I'm teaching part-time, so I'm not here all the time. I'm only here when I'm teaching. And then I'm trying to do some research on the side. Eventually I'm going to get published and move forward with all that stuff. My dissertation was on the film industry, so I did kind of incorporate my undergrad degree into my dissertation. So now it's all kind of come together. I'm in the biggest town for film and entertainment, so things. I'm working on things on the side that could eventually lead to other things. But for now, I'm committed to teaching, and I do want to get. I do like my main goal is to like do research, because like the whole point of the economics thing was like I understood based on my exposure via film to the world that there's economic realities that are a lot harsher than we all experience here in our little comfortable bubbles. And so I felt like it would be good for me to dedicate myself to trying to do something about that in the long run. I'll probably do something about it when I'm like 85 years old. Until I get to that point, I'm just going to be working, doing whatever every person does. But I've set myself on a path to ideally maybe have some kind of impact in this world, which is good. And it's always a good thing to want to do that, even if you don't actually wind up accomplishing that. It's a good motivator. It does get you through really tough times. Yeah, so that's who I am. I grew up in the Valley, so I'm from around here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm part of this place. So I'm happy to be at CISA. I like this place. So far, it's been a pleasant experience. So I look forward to ideally this semester also being a pleasant experience. So who are you? I'm not going to go around and ask you to introduce yourselves because I think that's silly, and I hated that when I was a student. So I would never ask you to do that. But I know that you are mainly some of your econ majors, which is great. Welcome the econ majors. We'll be covering a lot of the econ stuff you've already covered, again, in a little more detail to sort of just reinforce your understanding of the concepts that you've covered, and also learn to kind of extract that information and apply it to the management field. I know a lot of you are management majors, and this is a prerequisite for you. And so this is an important class for you because it's kind of like one of those big hurdles you have to get through. Something you have to understand is like this is an economics course that ultimately, provides you insights into how to manage large and even small firms properly. But like we're using economic theory. That means you have to demonstrate your understanding of economic theory. I will go through it in fine detail. I will be very clear about it. For those people invested in the course, it should be no problem. As long as you're coming to the course, paying attention to the lectures, going over the material several times, you're going to be fine. But regardless of the approach you take, the class is a challenge. And especially for those of you that are not used to like rigorous classes where it's like very technical and a lot of information is being thrown at you and you're expected to learn it in some way, shape, or form and be able to demonstrate that understanding. So that it might require some adapting for you, some growing, some becoming better at what you already are good at doing. And of course, I'm here to facilitate that, and I will. But it's definitely a two-way street, and ultimately it is your responsibility to really put in everything you have into doing well in the course. And so that's what I will expect of you. And if that's not happening, that's a choice you make. And then, whatever happens, happens. In the end, most people wind up passing the course. But if you want an A or B in the course, like you really have to put a lot into it. But I'll talk more about that when I get to the grading. Anyway, so you come from different backgrounds. Is there anybody that's not an econ major and not a management major in this course right now? What are you? Oh, engineering. Okay, is this like just an elective? Oh, okay. So you're economics as well. Okay, cool. No, we're not minor. Yeah, that's not a major. So yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Great. Welcome. Anybody else not in either of those things? All right, cool. All right, so managerial economics. So basically, again, we are covering economic theory, and so you've taken micro already, and you've taken some form of calculus, likely the business calculus course 103 in this school or somewhere else, or some introductory calculus course somewhere. And so that will come into play. So the prerequisites do come into play, but am I understand that there might be gaps in the time that you took prerequisites to now, so I do cover things again, but I'm very clear about it. But again, like a prerequisite is there for a reason, so it's like you are kind of expected to kind of know this stuff. But again, I do cover things as though you haven't. But not to the extent that like I'm going to focus on teaching you calculus, but I'll teach you like how to take a derivative and what a derivative is really quick right before we start taking derivatives. And so kind of give you refreshers on the things that you'll need to do well in the course. So we go through economic theory and then we extract principles that are useful to managers of either small or large firms. So basically, we'll just be covering all of essentially microeconomics, and then just like talking about like how some of the theory can explain some of the optimal ways of approaching management of firms, and that's basically the gist of the course. It's very technical. It's very rigorous, and it is what it is. Just don't give up. That's the most important thing. If you're feeling weighed down, that's it's supposed to feel like that. So like you have to just embrace that and just kind of push through it. That's just the way things go in especially in upper division courses. So we'll talk more about how to get through the course today and as the course goes on. So how I teach the course is I've put in a lot of hours into making slideshows that are mine. Nobody else has these slideshows because they are mine. I created them. They are based on the book. A lot of what is in the book is on my slides. I've animated a lot of stuff. I've added extra stuff. I've put in a lot of the math steps on the problems that I expect you to know. And then I record everything. So basically what's being recorded right now is what I'm saying and what you're seeing on the screen. And then I post them all on Moodle. I upload them to YouTube, and then all the links are on Moodle. So, and they're cataloged by week, so all the lectures are there. So it's like the course is very accessible to you. Like the information is very accessible to you. If you miss a class, it's recorded. If you choose not to come to class at all the recordings are there. If you're choosing to do that, though, you have to be watching the lectures as though you are in class. You can't put them on to your laundry and act like it's like a podcast that you're just casually listening to. No, like you have to be sitting down, watching, listening, taking notes multiple times, going through the book again to reinforce your understanding of the things that we've covered, things like that. Like this is a serious class. This is not like a casual class. So if you're going to be a person where you're like, okay, well, I've got the lectures online, I don't need to go to class on a regular basis because I don't take attendance and I don't care about attendance, then you need to be taking this class seriously outside of class. So, and if you're not doing that, then you need to own up to that and accept the decision that you're making to not really care about the class. Just something to keep in mind. But like this class is not a hybrid course, like, part online, part in class. No, it's like I just choose to do this because I feel it's most effective because why not? Like it should be flexible to you. If you are committed to learning and doing well in college, then, why not give you some flexibility? And so I do. But you should be coming to class on a regular basis. The people that wind up doing really well in my classes do that because it forces you to be here and pay attention to me. You are right in front of me. And you have me as a resource while I'm here. I can talk to you. You can ask me questions. It's like it's a very tangible sort of controlled environment. Whereas, when you're at home, things can not be like that, or when you're in the library or wherever. So, and you should be going through this stuff multiple times anyway. And so you go through it once with me by coming to class, and it makes sense to do that. You should do that. I hope you do. So how do you succeed in the course? Again, you should come to class, go through the material several times, and just be committed to doing well every day from now till the end, not like right before the exam till the end, or not right before every exam, or right before the final until the end, or not right before you write that paper, which you have to write, by the way. Like you have to be committed right now, and then keep that going till the end, and then you'll do really well, and things will be fine. So if you're committed to doing well in the class, you're going to do well in the class, because that's how I've structured my classes. All my resources are meant to help you do that, and the people that take full advantage of like the structure of the class and how I teach it and all the resources I offer you do well in the class. And so like I've gotten a lot of really strong positive feedback from those people, like the people that are like in it to do well. The people that are like casual and like just trying to make it through, sometimes they're unhappy about stuff, but in the end, like there has to be like you have to take responsibility for your decisions. Like I'm telling you today on day one, make the decision to be committed to the course. Make the decision to come to class on a regular basis. If you miss class, make the decision to watch my lecture as though you came to class. If you're not doing that, things aren't going to go as well as they could, and you need to accept that. And that's that. One thing I need to say about you, some of you that do work and go to school, like I worked and went to school for a while, and it worked out, but in the end, like I realized that I had to give up working in order to do really well, and I did that, wound up taking out more loans, which now I'm dealing with, but I did wound up doing really well as a result of that. But that's not something I'm suggesting you do. What I'm suggesting, though, is that if you are a person that's like going to school and working, like you have to accept the fact that you have serious time constraints you have to deal with, and that maybe you can't be taking a full load and working full time, or you can't be taking like 2 or 3 really hard classes and working full time. Like you need to just accept, okay, this is what I'm doing in my life. This is how much time I have. This is what I can accomplish. So let me take 1, 2 classes each semester. It's going to take me longer to finish college, but I'll actually do it the right way. I'll get good grades. I'll feel better about what I'm doing. I'll actually learn the stuff rather than just like trying to shoehorn everything into my life and just hope that I get through and then like wind up with like a crappy record, maybe failing some classes, etc. Like in the end, that's not really reflecting like what you're really capable of. You're just trying to squeeze success into like a very tight lifestyle, and that doesn't work. So it's just something you need to keep in mind. If this is not the right semester for you to take this class, make that decision. Take it later. You are going to need to spend a lot of time learning this stuff if you want to do well in the class. And so you need to just acknowledge now whether or not you have enough time for that. And if you don't, wait till the time that you do have enough time for that. Because again, like although like I can empathize with you as far as like, yes, you're in a tough position, and like, yes, you're dealing with a lot of circumstances and maybe all students aren't dealing with, etc. Like I can't factor that into my grading, because anytime anyone comes to me with a story about what's going on in their life, it's like, yeah, you're telling me your story, but guess what? Every single other person in the class has a story. Everybody can tell me a story about what's going on in their life that's affecting their ability to do well. And therefore, none of your stories matter, because if they did, then like, how do I come up with a system to make that fair? I just can't. So I can't take into account what's going on in your life. All I can take into account is your performance. That's it. That is what dictates how you do in this class, ultimately. So today, day one, decide, do you have the time and and just dedication today based on what's going on in your life to do well? I am a firm believer that there aren't inherent differences, aside from people that are like physically damaged at some point in their early life. There aren't any inherent differences in our abilities to learn and just be the best we possibly can be. If you've heard anything and actually believe anything of that sort, where you think, well, I'm not as good as these people or this or that because of this reason or that reason, it's absurd. That itself will get in the way of you doing well and being the best that you can be. I know that every single person in this class right now, every single person in this school is capable of amazingly great things. And all it takes is for you to like put everything you have into what you're doing. But if you do believe that there's something you can't do, and you're focusing on that, that you're using your very powerful tool that you have in here, that we all have in here, to stop you from doing well. Like, you are actually using your intelligence against yourself. So ideally, over time, you'll get over that. So in the end, I believe that everybody is capable of doing exceptionally well in this class and every other class in life. And so and therefore, it is ultimately circumstances that stop you from doing well in this class, in other classes, and whatever. And so it's something you need to be aware of. Like, what are my circumstances? What can I do? Can I get things done the right way? How do I get things done the right way? That's what we as adults do. That's how we as adults succeed in anything we take on, by being very realistic about what we're taking on and how much time we have to take those things on. All right, let's talk about the syllabus and the important minutia that actually winds up being very important to how the class runs. I have very particular ways that I approach the class. These are the way that I approach the class. I'll be very clear about today. If it's something you don't like, you're free to take another professor. It's the beginning of the semester. There's a lot of classes. Try to take another class. Like, if you're unhappy about something today, you're going to be unhappy about it the entire semester. Might as well move on. But most people tend to like my approach overall. So I generally don't have that problem. All right, just the minutia. I have an office in this building, 4th floor, 4243. There's a phone number that doesn't have voicemail, so there's a phone number. I have office hours. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have office hours from 10:45 to 12. So right after this class till 12. And then from 5 to 6:30 on Tuesdays as well. So those are the best times to talk to me. Now, how office hours work for me, for some reason people think that office hours are like an opportunity to get the professor to re-lecture stuff. Maybe that's the case for professors that don't record their lectures, but I record my lectures. Everything I've said is on my recordings. If you're coming to class, cataloging the subjects, having thorough notes, okay, I don't quite understand this one thing. Okay, I'll just go to this one lecture and have them re-explain it to me. I don't get it. Okay, well, let me go to the book to if you do all that, then you should be fine. In all the years, in the 1,003 years that I went to school, I didn't once go to the professor's office hours to have them re-explain something to me. Office hours are for the professor to be available to you in case you want to talk about something. You need to talk to me about something? Come talk to me about it during my office hours. I'm there. You have a problem that is getting in the way of the class. You want advice on maybe how to approach things differently so you do better. I'm happy to talk to you about it. You want me to explain that one thing I explained in class again? Well, no, I'm not going to do that. You should be going home and learning it. That's what you need to do. Like, what is important for everyone to understand, and I'm sure a lot of you already do, is that success in life is very independent, and you cannot depend on other people, especially in a professional environment. In a professional environment, people do not want burdens. People want people that are going to support them, that are going to elevate the collective, unit that is whatever the firm is. And so if you are the sort of person that's like, I don't care about anything, I'm just trying to get through stuff, and anytime you need something, you don't take initiative to try to figure it out. You're just like, can you just explain this to me? Just tell me what I need right now. If you're doing that, you're taking time away from other people, and that time is valuable to other people. There is what's called an opportunity cost to all time, which we'll talk about in fine detail in this class. And so you are basically sending the signal to others, especially in a professional environment, that you're not the sort of person that maybe deserves the big opportunities, maybe even should be around. What people want is self-starters, people that are self-sufficient, people that can maybe even come up with new things that improve the way things are already being done, rather than just being a burden. So I'm available to you in class. So I'm here 2 hours and 30 minutes with you every week, face to face. I'm here. Come to class. Watch the lecture as I'm teaching. Ask me questions. That's what class is for. People it's just so evident. People come to me generally the day before the exam. Oh yeah, can you explain like all this stuff? Like, no, I'm not going. No, you don't come to class. Like, seriously, folks, like let's be adults about this. So as far as office hours go, like we're only supposed to give you 1 hour a week just to be available to you, but I do offer you 4 hours because I teach 4 classes, so I have 4 hours available. So I'm there for you. You need to talk to me. You have a personal matter, whatever. Let's talk. I'm available to you, but do not come to me to re-explain material to you. I will not do that, and I will be very clear about that. All right, so there's a textbook that you have to get. It's Michael Bay, Managerial Economics, Business Strategy, 8th edition. It also, there's a homework system that comes along with the textbook. It's the Connect homework system. You can buy the book at the bookstore and it comes with an access code, or you can buy it as a standalone item. So to register for the homework system, on the syllabus, so there's a syllabus on Moodle, a digital syllabus, and it's got the link, this live link on it. Just click on this live link. It'll take you to my class. And if you are already registered because you've already used the Connect system, just use your normal login and it'll take you to the registration for my course. If not, you're going to click register now. So remember, this is all being recorded and I'm going to put it on Moodle. So if you're not keeping up with everything specifically, in fine detail right now, when you're home, signing up for homework or whatever, it's all there. You can just go back to it and re-reference it. So that's another thing. I move fairly quickly because I'm recording everything. And so it's all there for you to go back and fill in the gaps on your notes if I'm moving too fast for you. Which again, you should be doing. You should be going over the material several times. So anyway, so register now. So you'll enter your email address and you'll press submit there. And then it'll ask you for the registration code if you already bought the registration code. So you would submit it there. If you purchase a hard copy of the book at the bookstore, enter the registration code that came with the book. If you only want to buy access to the online system and digital book, you click buy online. So you don't have to buy the book at the bookstore. You can just buy a digital version of the book along with the Connect access. So again, you just go to that link on my syllabus, go to this site, and just go over here, buy online. Access to the online system is $100. That includes the textbook and the homework system. So it's fairly discounted relative to like the hard copy. It's good to have a hard copy though, because hard copies, like they force you to not be connected to the web, right? So it's like it's you and the book. Like it's nothing else. It's not like you and like Instagram and Twitter and it's like the book. And then you can sell the book back. But if you don't want to go down that route, your choice, whatever works for you. Just make sure you have a version of the book because it's important. But definitely the homework system, because there's homework in the class and it will affect your grade if you do not do the homework. We'll talk about that in a second. The third option here is to access the online system for a free 2-week trial period. So you'll start a courtesy access there, and then it'll give you a 2-week trial if you're not in the class yet and you want to get started on stuff, or if you're not sure if you want to stay in the class, etc. At least you get access to the stuff that you need for 2 weeks for free. And then after that, make sure that you register properly. If you have any kind of technical issues with respect to Connect, don't talk to me. I'm not technical support for Connect. You're paying money for Connect. They have people that work for Connect. They'll help you. There is a contact us link at the bottom of every page. And then there's a form. Either fill out the form or you can call them. They've got very flexible hours, pretty late night as well. So there you are. That's your resource for dealing with the system if it's having technical issues. Fortunately, this system doesn't have a lot of technical issues, so it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, you can just buy the access book only. Yeah. Yeah. You can just go straight to the website through my link and then just buy online access via the website. Yeah. Any questions or anything yet? Sometimes I forget to ask, are there any questions? It's okay for you to raise your hand, ask questions, whatever. I want you to ask questions, so please do. All right, reading, lecture slides, attendance. So it's a good idea to read the sections covered in class before the corresponding lecture. It's the best approach. Slides, again, are based on the book and will be made available after each lecture on Moodle. So I will post, again, I'll post the video, and I'll also post like a PDF and a slideshow file of the actual slides as well. So if you don't want to hear me, you're tired of hearing me, you just want to look at the slides, just look at the slides. So the slides are your primary information source for the course, because even though I've based it on the book, I didn't put everything in my slides, right? So if I left something out, I'm not going to expect you to know that for like exams. So just keep that in mind. My lectures are the primary source of information, and then, you know, the book is supplementary. It's meant to expand your understanding or reinforce it. All right, exams. Unfortunately, there is a reality that we all have to deal with, and that is that this is a college course, and therefore there are exams. There will be 2 midterm exams and a final exam. The exam dates are listed in the lecture schedule that follows, which it's at the end of the syllabus, which I'll cover. Makeup exams are not given. I do not give makeup exams, so just keep that in mind. Students will only be excused from midterm 1 or midterm 2 at my discretion. And the only legitimate reasons are medical emergencies. So like, you've stopped breathing, you've been rushed to the hospital, somebody in your family's contacted me to let me know that you were not able to come to the exam. It has to be extreme. Somebody last semester like gave me a notice from their chiropractor. Oh, I had a chiropractor appointment. I couldn't. That's not a medical emergency. Sorry. So I've gotten some ridiculous stuff. I turned 2 people down last semester with their medical excuses. You have to have a medical emergency. If not, you have to come to the exam, okay? Like I said, you don't have to come to class because I record the lectures. They're there for you, etc. You have to come to the exams. I can't just create a new exam for you. I can't do that. It takes me like 2 days to create an exam. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to do it just for you. Like, you have to be considerate of that. So unless there's a medical emergency, I will not excuse you from missing an exam. Keep that in mind. A physician must document any illness. Again, going to the doctor just because you feel sick is not a medical emergency. So if you're like, oh, I feel sick, I'm going to go to the emergency room, and then here it is. No. Like, anybody can be like, oh, I'm sick, and go to the emergency room and then just say, oh, I went to the emergency room. Excuse me from an exam. That's not a medical emergency. That's you saying you kind of feel sick. I have been under the worst conditions, and I have never in my life missed an exam. So keep that in mind. Jury duty is not an excuse either, since it can be postponed until once you're on break. I had a student last semester. The first time he tried to get out of it with the chiropractor. Oh, this is the same guy. Chiropractor. The second time it was jury duty. I was like, no, dude. Like 2 different exams. So just please, you're expected to come to class 3 days. The 2 midterms and the final. Please come to those days. Please come every day. I want to see you all the time, but definitely come on the exam days. If you miss an exam and there is a legitimate excuse, the final will absorb the missed exam credit. So that's how I deal with that. I don't give you another exam. I just make the final be worth more. The final must be taken in order to pass the course and will only be rescheduled for major illness or other well-documented emergencies. All right, so there is homework. There will be mostly weekly homework assignments using the Connect software. So once you're registered on Connect, you are going to access the assignments. You click on the home icon, which is here. So this will take you to the assignments. And then it'll look something like this, like homework 1, homework 2, homework whatever. Homework will be due Sunday nights at 11:59 p.m. I'll drop your 3 lowest homework scores. So that is meant to sort of capture any error that happens in your life that causes you not to be able to do homework. So don't come to me saying, oh, blah, blah, blah. Can you reopen a homework because of this, that, or the other? No, I can't. I dropped 3 homeworks. So that is meant to give you flexibility. So if things happen, this will absorb it. So don't use your 3 homeworks on 3 occasions that you don't feel like doing your homework. Like, save those for times that things may happen that may stop you from doing the things that you need to do. There will be no late assignments accepted as a result of that. So the homework is not a huge challenge. Everything in this class is meant to help you learn. So what I've done is I have created video solutions of the homework assignments that are already on Moodle. So for every assignment, you have me available for every question a video that explains exactly how to do it. And so I don't want you to sit and just be like confused about how to do these things and just tearing your hair out, like just angry that you can't figure stuff out. Like, I don't think that's the right way to learn. I think people that are committed to learning are going to learn, and the people that aren't are not. And so if you're committed to learning, then you have what you need to learn. Go through the video several times. Really understand the steps. Understand what I did. Make sure you know how to do it. It's there for you. That's what it's there for. It's not there for you to, oh, God, I got to do the homework. The videos are online. Oh, it's Sunday night at like 11. Oh, I'll just go through and get the answers really quick and put them in. That'll be it. If you're going to do that, yeah, you'll get credit for the homework, but you're not going to learn. You're going to do bad in the exams. The exams are what really dictate your grade in this class. So you want to learn this stuff so that you can do well in the exams. Homework, the ancillary stuff is just there to support your grade, but your grade is defined by your exams. So just keep that in mind. You need to actually learn this stuff. Don't like try to figure out shortcuts and just depend on those shortcuts, because it's just not enough. And we'll talk about more about your grade in a second, but it could go bad. I'm just saying it could go bad. You don't want to have to retake a class like this. Yeah. Well, you get one attempt as far as like putting the answers in, but you can keep going through them if you want. No, I take the first that you enter, yeah. But I mean, you have the solutions, so So go through it on your own, do it on your own, and then just check it against the video, and then submit your answers once you understand and have the correct answers. No, it's not timed, but there is just the Sunday night time limit. Yeah. I'll talk about that in a second.
Quick question on the exam. Do you require Scantron or?
Scantrons, I'll talk about that when I get there. All right, so there is a paper that must be written for the course. So you'll be writing a 2,500 word paper, Times New Roman, font 12, that will be an economic analysis of a corporate case. So there's 4 corporate cases online on Moodle. So at the top, I've got the corporate case studies. There's an American Airlines case, Microsoft, Staples, there's 5, Visa, and WorldCom. So you choose one case for the entire semester. For the paper, you are going to assume the role of the firm manager. So you will be the manager, and you're going to use theoretical tools that are covered in the course to provide input into one of the 5 corporate cases studied on the Moodle class site. So remember, I'm recording this. It's here online. So I'm not going to be going through what you should do on the paper a million times. It's here. Refer back to it, figure it out. I'm going to explain more about the paper right now. So how it works is I basically have you write a rough draft of the paper throughout the semester. So throughout the semester, you're going to write what I call 3 mini papers. And they're 2 to 3 pages each. That's the length I expect them to be. Corresponding to 3 different chapters that you will choose to use for your analysis immediately after we cover each chapter. So I'll cover chapter 1, bam, chapter 1's done. I'll open up the submission for the mini paper at the end of that when I finish chapter 1, which will allow you a week to write a mini paper, 2 to 3 page paper, using theory from the chapter we covered, chapter 1, applying it to the case study that you have chosen to focus on for the entire semester. So you'll see due dates for every single chapter as we finish each chapter, but you only have to do 3 of them. So don't worry if there's due dates mounting up on Moodle, because again, you only need 3. But again, I set up due dates for all of them because, again, it's very flexible for you. Yes?
3 papers on each based on one chapter?
Yes.
3 chapters.
3 different chapters, 3 different papers, right? The mini papers. So the 3 papers are essentially rough drafts of the 3 chapters of your final paper. So again, you can create these 3 mini papers from the first 3 chapters. Bam, you're done with the paper essentially. It's not due till the end of the semester. At the end of the semester, you just basically put them together, write introduction that ties the three together, and a conclusion that mirrors the introduction, and you're done. The paper's done. People that jump on this right away, do it early in the semester, love it because it just alleviates the burden of having to do the paper at the end. The paper is a university requirement. It's not something that I would require of a class like this. It's a university requirement of you at this level. And so I try to make it as flexible as possible for you. Via this system. It tends to work. People that are invested in the course like it, and it works out. For people that are just all about like leaving things till the end, they usually just wind up leaving the last three papers to the last three due dates, maybe even missing some of them, which is silly because it's really easy to get credit on it, which I'll talk about in a second. I don't suggest you do that, but whatever, the system is there and you'll use it as you will use it. So again, you'll have a week following the conclusion of the corresponding chapter's lecture to turn in your mini paper digitally via Moodle. So like, let's say some week it'll say just chapter 5 mini paper, chapter whatever mini paper. That's where you submit the paper. There's one slot on Moodle at the very top for an open chapter mini paper that you can use anytime. So anytime throughout the semester, let's say we're covering chapter 8 and you're like, oh, I didn't get a chance to write a paper on chapter 1. You can write a paper on chapter 1. Just submit it there. You have one option like that. So that provides you even more flexibility. You do not need to turn in hard copies of the mini paper. So just submit them digitally. The 3 mini papers will not be graded based on content, but will adversely affect your grade if they are not turned in on time. I'll simply be looking to give you credit for completing them on time. So if you turn in a document that's not, so that's important. Make sure you turn them in by the last deadline. If you turn in something that is not a mini paper, meaning it's not 2 to 3 pages, or it's just like a blank piece of paper because you think I don't look at them, that is bad, and that will result in very bad outcomes. Maybe even you failing the course. So don't do that. Somebody did that a couple semesters back. Wasn't pretty, the results. So just be aware of that. Just do the right thing. There's a lot of opportunities here. Just use your time responsibly. Like, think now about how you want to approach everything, and everything will work out just fine. But if you leave things to the end and you're just like always like scurrying to try to catch up rather than just like being on top of things, like that's when things get bad. And then you have to just accept that you made the decision to let that happen. All right, so the final paper will be a compilation of the 3 mini papers in which you'll include an introduction, tying the 3 mini papers together under an umbrella thesis. Your umbrella thesis is essentially, I'm a manager of this firm. I'm using economic theory to try to, elucidate some of the issues that the firm is dealing with in this particular matter. I've chosen these 3 issues, blah, 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 and then that's it, you're done. And then the conclusion ties up the paper. The final paper will need to be submitted both digitally and via a hard copy to me in class. So that's the other day that you need to come to class. But you don't need to come to class because you could submit it to me like just sliding it under my door before the due date or coming to my office hours to turn it into me. So it doesn't have to be on that day, but that day that it is due is the final day that you can turn in your final hard copy of the paper. And if you don't turn it in, I usually wind up marking people off 50% on the paper if I don't get both versions. So if you just turn in a digital version and just completely forget to turn in the hard copy version, it will hurt you quite a bit. All right, again, if I don't receive both versions on the day they're due, you will not receive credit for you'll receive half credit. Each day the paper is late, you'll lose 25% of the credit. The completed paper will be closely scrutinized and graded based on content. So again, I won't be reading your mini papers. The mini papers are just meant for you to get work done on the paper throughout the semester before it's due. And then you can go back, read your mini papers. Okay, I like what I did here, but I want to clean this up, whatever. You can, go through them again and like, make them better. And then submit that final paper that I will read. Make sure everything's right as far as like structure, as far just a general paper structure, beginning, middle, end, like good introduction, good conclusion, no spelling errors, decent grammar, etc. Like just like standard like basic writing, good writing criteria that is expected of you, not just in college, but like out there where it really matters. All right. What time do we start? We start at 9:30? All right, yeah. Yes. So you'll choose one of those cases, and the final paper is, yeah, basically like you're analyzing that case with theory from 3 different chapters that you've used, that you've written in mini papers, which are the 3 chapters to your paper.
So we don't have to incorporate like the whole class.
No, just from 3 chapters. Each mini paper will focus on theory from a chapter. You don't have to use all the theory in the chapter, just a few things. Whatever you feel is relevant, whatever you feel makes sense. It just has to make sense, you know? It has to make sense. Like you have to demonstrate that you understand what you're talking about.
So we can choose the chapters we want.
Yes, exactly. All right, yeah, spelling, grammar, and overall organization will be important. All right, your course grade. So each of the 3 exams are going to be worth 20% of your grade. So the 2 midterms and the final, each worth 20% of your grade. Homework is worth 10% of your grade. The paper is worth 20% of your grade. So that is 90% so far. So how the paper works is like the actual completed paper, the final paper that you turn into me, that I grade, that I read, is 14% of the grade. And then each mini paper is worth 2%. So if you submit your 3 mini papers, you automatically get 6%. Like I don't grade them, so you know the content won't affect that. So you turn in 3 mini papers, you get 6%, and then the final paper, the 14%, will be based on like, did they do a good job? You know, I'm gonna have to read a bunch of papers, but yeah, so that's how it works. All right, and so the final component of my grade is very particular to me. It's something that I do in my classes, and it works very well. It's a 10% 10% part of your grade that is made up by communication. So I'll talk about what that means in a second. So letter grades will correspond approximately to the following ranges, but it usually winds up being a little bit more generous than that because the class is a curved class. And what that means is essentially, I don't. So I'm trying to. I target a C average in the class because usually the average tends to be lower than that. It doesn't have to be though. If everybody does really well and everybody earns A's and B's, you are getting A's and B's, and you will make me so happy. But if that doesn't happen, then I curve the class. I target a C average, and so there's people at the top, there's a lot of people in the middle, and then there's people at the bottom. So people will not pass the course, but again, that doesn't have to happen if everybody's doing well. So just if everybody's doing well, everything's going to be fine. But the curve is meant to help people pass the course. That if there's a large percentage of people that aren't meeting, this like grade scale, then I don't want to fail half the course. That would be absurd. Some professors are comfortable with that. I am not comfortable with it. Another thing I don't do, even though I do pluses and minuses, generally I will not give out a C minus because I know that a C minus for a lot of business students means not passing. And so the distinction between a C and a C minus is so arbitrary that it just doesn't make sense for me to give out a C minus. I did give out 2 last semester because I suspected these people of cheating. But in general, my policy is not to give out C minuses. So if you're close to a C, I will give you the C. But again, if things are very evident that you are not committed to the course whatsoever, and you are in the bottom of the range of scores in the class, you will wind up failing the course, or at least getting a D. It's a reality that may happen. Avoid it at all costs. Do well in the class. It's day 1. We're all a blank slate here. Everybody can do really well. Put in what you have. There's so much in all of you. You've got the capacity to do well in this class and every other class. Put it in, and it will happen, and things will work out. All right, so let's talk about this communication policy. Communication is the most important skill you need to cultivate here in order to succeed once you earn your degree. We live in a world where communication is so accessible now, and all of us, well, not me, but you are the generation right after me, the majority of you, have become so comfortable with communicating very casually because why not? Texting, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I get that. It's fun. Have your acronyms and your choppy sentences and whatever. It may and your emoticons. It's cool, emojis. It's cool. It's fine. Enjoy that. When you're in a professional environment, that stuff doesn't fly. You're going to get a lot of people that have been in business for a long time that maybe you want something from, that are going to expect you to communicate professionally. And so you need to be able to do that when you're in a professional setting. Like, you need to be able to make that switch. Like, I'm not talking to my friends and family. I'm talking to my boss and coworkers, etc. So part of my communication policy is just to help sort of like, train you, or maybe retrain you, or just maybe reinforce what you already know to do in a professional setting with respect to communication. So again, the policy is meant to help prepare you for professional communication standards that you'll be expected to adapt to in a variety of professional settings. This is not participation. People often ask me, are we talking about participation here? No, you don't have to participate in anything. You don't have to come to class. That's not part of my grading, but the communication is. So electronic communication with me in this class will be done exclusively through a message board called Piazza. Please do not email me ever. Never send me an email, okay? I get emailed every time you post something on Piazza, so it's basically equivalent to you emailing me. You can post questions on Piazza, which can be answered by your fellow students as well as myself. It also provides you the option to post anonymously to your fellow students, but all posts will be transparent to me. So if you're posting anonymously, I know who's posting. If you have a personal issue you need to discuss with me, then what you do is you just very simply post an anonymous request on Piazza. Professor, I have a medical issue I need to discuss with you. Professor, I have a family emergency I need to discuss with you. And then I'll respond, send me a private email. And then that's when we'll email. Because I have hundreds of people in my class. I can't have people just like email me, when's the exam? What does the syllabus say about this? Like, no, like, put it on Piazza. I've likely already answered your question, but other students may be willing to help you as well to get your questions answered. And again, if you have a personal issue, it's a very clear, simple thing you have to do. Just post a request on Piazza to have me address it privately, and I will do that. And again, you post it anonymously, so you're not divulging to anybody that you have this issue. Nobody knows who you are, so it's anonymous. It's fine. Your anonymity is sustained. But of course, you're free to discuss personal issues with me in person during office hours. You have something you need to talk to me about? Come to my office hours. You have something you need to talk to me about? Wait till class is over and everybody's gone, and then ask me in person. All right, so this is the Piazza main screen. It's just a pretty standard website that is meant to facilitate communication exclusively in academic settings. So like MIT students, Berkeley students, they like first started using this and it's worked out really well. And then I wound up using it in a class that I TA'd for as a grad student, and it worked out. So I was like, great, I'm going to use it too. So I've been using it and it's been working great. So the top menu has tabs with various options: Q&A, resources, statistics, manage class. We're only going to use the Q&A tab, so the only tabs don't matter. We're only going to use the question and answers. Below that is a set of folders that have categories like homework 1, homework 2, midterm exam 1, midterm exam 2. It's just a way to catalog stuff. So you can just, if you have a question about homework 1, you can click homework 1 folder, and then it'll have all the posts relating to homework 1. And then if your question's not already answered, you can ask a new question. Below the folder are some more filtering options: unread, updated, unresolved, following. If you click on the cog item there, again you can filter some of the posts as well. The next line provides a search box, so if you want to search about a particular issue, that's where you do it. The new post button allows you to create a new post. So you want to just click the right folder. You have a question about the midterm, or like if you have a question about how the class runs, you put that under logistics. And if there's not a category that fits your issue, you click other. Yeah.
You just have to ask a question, or we can answer the question.
You can answer questions as well. And then I can endorse an answer or not. Like I can look at what people answered and say, oh yeah, that's the right answer or not. So designating the correct folder for your post is important so that the question is easily found. Again, this is recorded, so you can refer back to this if you need to figure out how to do all this. The column on the left catalogs all the posts from the most current at the top to the older posts below it. If you click on a post, it will pop up on the main window on the right. So here's a question about the final or whatever. Click on that, and then it'll have the post there. If you scroll down, you have the option to respond after other folks have already maybe talked about whatever they're asking about, and maybe others have answered as well. I also have an option to give the official instructor answer or just endorse your answer. Anyone has the ability to respond to any post, and I have the option to endorse the response or not. So to register for Piazza, there is also a link on the syllabus. I think it's the second or third page. I think it's the third page, and the entire communication policy is there. It's a page. Anytime you have a question, something you want to deal with, and you don't remember my policy too well, it's right there in one page on the syllabus. I also have videos on Moodle that remind you of how everything works on top of having this recorded lecture. So everything you need to just learn how to do things in this class are available to you, and you should take a moment to just kind of figure out, okay, what's the right way of doing this? It saves me a lot of time. I have a lot of people I'm dealing with. I can't hold people's hands to this class. I need you to be responsible adults about this. Registering on a phone doesn't work, so you need to register on an actual computer. But there is an app on the phone for Piazza if you want it. Please register on a PC. Once you click on the link to register from my syllabus, you'll be taken to the registration page where the process should be self-explanatory. So your communication grade is calculated on a few factors. One, you have to register for Piazza. So if you haven't registered by the end of the third week, you're going to lose half your communication grade. So your communication grade will be down to 5 if you have not registered for Piazza by the third week. So just register now, get it out of the way. It's there. Again, it's not a participation. You don't have to do anything. It's there if you need to do something. If you need to ask me questions. If you have a question about something you don't understand, ask it on Piazza. Another thing I look for is that you post clearly and professionally on Piazza. Each post should pertain to only one question. You're going through the homework, and even though everything's explained for you, you might have a couple of questions on question, homework 3, question 5 and 6. Put them on different threads so people can, if people have only questions about 3, they can easily find it versus, having to read through your thing to figure out, what they're looking for. So if you have multiple questions, start multiple posts. Each post should be labeled correctly in the title as well as the folder you categorize it in. And the title is really where you define what your post is about. Like you ask the actual question in the title. Don't just say homework, exam question. Like, what are you talking about? Which exam are you talking about? Oh, well, exam 1, time of the exam. Exam 1, question 5. You have to be very specific when you're in a professional environment because people don't want to have to search for information. They want things to be clear cut so that they can move quickly through things so that things can get done. So let's say you're talking about homework 3, question 4. You just put that in the title. Homework 3, question 4. How does the communication grade work? Put that in the title. Exam 2, question 3. Put it in the title. Do we have class on Wednesday? Put it in the title. If you can't find a relevant folder, there's one for the category of other. Before you post a question, make sure it hasn't already been asked. If your question has been asked and the answer does not cover your issue, then just post a follow-up on the same thread if it's about the same issue. Don't start a whole other thread because then it just becomes convoluted. There's 1,000 threads of the same question. It doesn't make sense. Questions and answers on Piazza should be limited to topics in a particular thread. Again, directly email me only when I instruct you to. If you email me a question that should be on Piazza, I will respond to it and say that this should be on Piazza and that you should post on Piazza to avoid further deductions because I will deduct your grade by a point if that happens. Post only professional comments. Posting your personal feelings about anything related to the class is not professional. Talk about your personal feelings about the class with your friends. Talk about it on social media. I hate the professor. I hate this class. Fine. talk about it outside of our environment, because in our environment, it's all about facilitating learning and making sure that everything's being done properly versus like everybody talking about how they feel about things, because of course you're not going to feel great about everything. This is not an easy class. It's going to put you through a challenging semester, and you just just expressing your feelings about that could go wrong, and you don't want that. So don't do it. Yes.
If someone posts a question about some homework, I will provide a whole solution.
Yeah, it's fine because I've already provided all the solutions anyway.
Okay?
Yeah, remember the videos that I posted? They're on there. So the board is for relaying important information about the class. If you have discussions about the opinions of the class, please do it on personal social media. Please do not respond to my Moodle posts either, nor send me messages on Moodle. So every day at the end of class, once I post the lecture slides and the video, I'll just email you and say, hey, I posted the stuff. And here's just a reminder of the important things that I mentioned. At the beginning of every class, I'll address important issues that are going on with the class. So that's why it's important for you to come to class, or at least listen to the first part of my lectures that kind of go over what's been happening in the class, what's important, etc. And those emails that you get are from Moodle. Some people just like respond to them and like ask me like random questions unrelated. It's ridiculous. Like, just don't respond to Moodle posts. If you have a question, just do it the right way on Piazza. If you respond to my Moodle post, it's tantamount to emailing me, which will hurt your communication grade. Keep up with all the information that's relayed to you by me. Like, if you're not coming to class on a regular basis, at the very least, keep up with my announcements. Keep up with reading my emails from Moodle. Listen to the first part of my lectures so that you get an understanding of like what's happening in the class. So you have to read all my emails from Moodle. You must also be current on all information announced in class. So if you're asking questions about things that I've already addressed in an email or in class, that's going to hurt your communication grade as well, because you're telling me that my time doesn't matter, your time only matters, and you want the information when you need it versus like, when it's available to you, which is like always, because it's provided to you in various resources. So you have to be considerate of other people's time is ultimately what this is all about. I am a very busy person, and so I need you to understand that, and I need you to work with me so that it all works smoothly. If you have questions about how the class is run, the first place you want to check is the syllabus. If the answer is not there, the second place you want to check is the news forum on Moodle. So all the emails that I send from Moodle are going to be cataloged on the news forum, which a link is at the top of this of Moodle. So again, it catalogs all the emails. So like all the emails I've sent are going to be there, and it should be easy for you to find the latest ones and figure out what's going on in the class and get your questions answered. If you don't find your answer on the news forum, then go to Piazza and search for your question. If your question has not been answered, then post a new question. If you have questions about the material, do a search for a similar question on Piazza, and if it has not been answered, post a new question. All right, let's talk about these Moodle resources that I have available for you. So at the top of our class page are links to the syllabus, the Piazza message board, the Connect homework system, and the news forum. So anytime you need to do anything in this class, open up Moodle, and then you've got all the links to all the resources that you need to work within the class right there. So you don't have to like type in Piazza all the time, Connect and all the links are there. These aren't the links to register though. The links to register on the syllabus. But once all that's done, anytime you need to deal with this class, open up your Moodle page and use these links. You'll be fine. Below that are instructional videos covering Connect, Piazza, and communication, and the paper and the mini paper. So we've had our first class. Yeah, everything's fresh, but let's say 3 weeks in, you haven't done anything, and you need to do something, like maybe register for Piazza or figure out the homework system or something. I don't know. I've created individual videos so that if you don't want to go back to the first lecture and kind of like find the part, there's individual videos that kind of focus on the stuff. Registering for Piazza, how the Piazza interface works, how to post correctly on Piazza, communication policy explained, and then papers and mini papers explained. So if the paper and the mini paper system is not completely solidified in your mind as far as how it works, this explains it, as well as this whole first lecture that's recorded is there too, and it's on the syllabus. So lots of resources for you. You have a question, use the resources. It should answer your questions. But again, if you're coming to class on a regular basis, I'll be here. And at the beginning of the class, I ask, any questions? You have a question, ask it to me in my face. in person. Like, don't just convolute our lives with like a million, like just redundant questions that just gets us nowhere. You have to be responsible. Yes.
The communication and the PRs we have to do it every week. It's really matter how much we do.
So you don't have to do it. If you need to use it, you use it. But you need to register by the third week just to be on there. You get a 10% if you're following the guidelines as far as communication. But if you didn't need to communicate at all and you're on top of all the information, you're not asking questions in the wrong places, etc., you're going to be fine. You'll get the full 10. And I'll show you, you'll see the communication grades throughout the semester, and everybody's will be a 10 at start, and then it'll go down if things happen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You'll see it. Yeah. It'll be on Moodle. Yeah. Other questions? What was that? So that was the videos. All right. The corporate case studies are also on Moodle. So again, you just choose one for the entire semester. So, take a moment to kind of like look through all of them, see which one interests you the most. Pick that one, and then that's the one you'll focus your 3 mini papers on. There's also exam files. So I have practice exams for every exam online. So start getting familiar with the exams now. How does he test me? Well, these are old exams that I've given. So I could use questions from exams as well. So old exams. So it's a good thing to kind of get familiar with them and even use them as study guides. Yeah, so they're there. And then of course, once we go through actual exams in the course, I'll post the answer keys on there and like stuff about the curves, etc. under each of these folders. Links for submitting the open chapter mini paper submission are also going to be at the top of Moodle. PDFs of the slides for the chapters we'll be covering for those that like to take notes on printed out slides will be there. But I don't post slides before lectures. I post them afterwards because I don't want people... I want people to take notes. Like, I don't want you to just be writing some things on something that's already printed. I want you to take notes. So I don't do that. That's the one thing I do not do. But once the lecture is done, everything's available to you. As the semester unfolds, the lecture files will be posted as I conclude them in the calendar portion of the Moodle pages below the top section. You'll just simply scroll down to the calendar section of Moodle, and under each week, you'll see all the lecture files cataloged. It's really easy to find any particular lecture that you might have missed or want to go over again. You'll also find the submission post for the mini papers that will be posted as soon as the lecture of each chapter is complete. So as far as what we're going to cover, the first 4 weeks, we're going to cover 4 chapters: the fundamentals of managerial economics, market forces, demand and supply, quantitative demand analysis, the theory of individual behavior. So basically the demand side of the market and the insights that can give us for managing. Then we'll take our first exam. We'll have 4 homework assignments, 1 for each chapter. And then we'll take our first midterm on Tuesday, the 21st of February, so in a month. And as far as the midterm goes, yes, there's a green Scantron that I'll talk, the skinny green one. I forget the number, but I'll let you know about it before the exam. But yeah, you'll just need that, and then I'll provide you printed exams to write on, so you won't need to bring a blue book. Weeks 5 through 9, we'll cover 4 more chapters: the production process and costs, the organization of the firm, the nature of industry, and managing in competitive, monopolistic, and monopolistically competitive markets. So then we go to the supply side of the market, and we start talking about like how we model the decision to supply by looking at the production and costs of a firm. And then we'll talk about some like practical issues related to how to how an industry is structured, as well as like how you get like a practical firm to sort of try to adhere to the theoretical results that optimize the production process. And then we'll apply that whole framework to different competitive settings, starting from the most competitive to the least competitive. There'll be 4 homework assignments there. Midterm 2 will be on the 4th of April. And then the last stretch of the semester will cover 4 more chapters, and that will cover the more complicated market setting cases which are actually the most common that most firms operate in, which are oligopolistic markets. Oligopolies are industries where you have a few large firms dominating the market. and that's basically the nature of most industries that most large firms operate in. So it's also the most complicated setting, and so there's a lot to cover there. So we cover it in 4 chapters. And that provides you the final insights from the course. And then there'll be 4 homework assignments. Completed papers due on May 9th. Final exam is on May 16th. Unfortunately, it's at 8 a.m. But whatever, it's just one time throughout the semester. We'll be fine. And that's basically it for that. What was that? There's 15 multiple choice questions and 4 open answer questions with multiple parts that will involve math, etc. Check out the practice exams online to get an idea of that. Are there any questions about anything? All right, if you are not in the course, make sure you sign in. If you're on the wait list, sign in. That's the only way you're going to be able to get into the course past the first week. Beyond that, I think we're going to have a great semester. I wish everybody good luck on this first week. I know it can be a tough transition, so hang in there. It's all going to work out. But really just focus on being the best you can be and make sure that success is imminent. All right, take care.